This is a meeting of the Consolidated Commission on session for the Guam Power Authority. In the room present are myself, Commissioner Calco, Commissioner Santos. Joining us through GoToMeeting is Commissioner Sanchez, and we're waiting for, we hope, Commissioner Guthards, who said she would be coming. She's probably on her way, but we try and start at 4:30. It's 4:31. The floor is yours. Let's start with your issue for decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight we have one issue for decision, and that's Resolution 2020-19, Commissioners. And that's for the authorization for the extension of the performance management contract for the GPA combustion turbine.
I can't hear John very well.
You can hear?
Yeah. I don't hear you, John. I don't hear you on the speakers.
Testing. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear okay? Is that better? Testing.
Not much.
No. Now, try again, John.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing, nothing.
I can hear him enough. I mean, and it's
okay. How about this one?
I'll follow along, but it's not clear for some reason.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
There. I hear you now. Can you hear Simon? Try one more time.
Me or John?
John.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Can you hear him?
I mean, I can hear him enough to follow along, but it's not as clear as it was Tuesday with Miguel, when Miguel would speak. But I can hear. I mean, it's straightforward for the issues for decision. We have that one, and
okay,
and I can follow along.
Okay,
so we can go forward, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay, testing 1, 2, 3.
There you go. That's better.
Okay, I'm going to use this mic then. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One issue for decision tonight, Resolution 2020-19, and this is related to authorizing us for the extension of the performance management contract with TEMIS for the GPA combustion turbines in the north. As we all know, we have 4 combustion turbines in the north, totaling about 80 megawatts. The power plant is needed for the additional capacity today, and most especially between now and the next few years. The current PMC contract began in 2016, and it ends on March 1st, 2021. So what we're looking for is for an extent. There is an option for 3 more years plus 2 extended 1 year, and this 1 year, 2 1 year options, additional 2 1 year options beyond that for a total of 5 years. So what I have before you is really to request the authorization of yourselves, and then subsequent to that the PUC for the next 5-year contract, for totaling about 7.32 million dollars, which includes fixed management fees and routine O&M. Going through a little bit on the work that is done there. Again, the work that has been done since 2016, of course, have been the Jigo turbine exchange, the JCCT turbine upgrade. We rehabilitated the 40 megawatt digital CT unit, and all of this had to be done when we lost Cabos 3 and 4. In addition, next, they did other maintenance projects like overhaul, machete, switch gears, compressor system. As we all know, these units were installed in 1992. So they're almost, they're getting about almost 25 years at this point. So therefore, we've been doing upgraded maintenance that's necessary to keep the units running. And actually, it's going to be a part not only for the most critical for the next few years, but for even the years beyond that. Next. Again, the issue is the technical expertise that is provided by them allows us to train additional personnel necessary for the plan. Some of the projects that have been delayed for the unit right now is the water treatment plan, water injection, and again, various technical things that have to be addressed to operate the units there. Next. Even in the extension year, the last 2 years of the contract, we have a whole list of things that we have planned that we would need to operate in the machine. Next. Including, again, changing at that point, the main system motor control centers. Because again, they've been, at that point, would have been over 30 years of age. And a lot of it is also because, if you look at the control system, parts are, it may be working okay, but parts are becoming more and more not available as you have to get to 30 to 40-year machines. Next. Again, the equipment in itself downtime has to be minimized. And this is what the PMC does for us. It partners with us with experienced technicians, purchasing of parts and materials for the machines. And again, equipment that need to be replaced, especially those that are not available, are typically could be manufactured or could be sourced in very difficult places. No? The next. So here's a breakdown of the fixed management fee. The current contract is 1.253
Per year?
per year. Is and 700,000 of that is about the fixed management fee. The balance is really the O&M that is put into the machine throughout the year. And again, if it's not spent, it's not reimbursed. So that's a reimbursable expense based on a projection of cost for the year. So if you take that, really
Yes. Just a minute, John.
Sure.
Yes, Commissioner Sanchez.
Actual maintenance, and can you give us just a feel for how many people are here, or why it seems to be higher on the cost to administer the O&M? The personnel cost to administer the O&M is higher than the O&M.
Well, the number of personnel there is about 4. We're all key, engineers and managers for the system. So that includes everything else, including the margins or living expenses, all of those different things. The combustion turbine.
I'm sorry, and this was part of a bid, right? That when you put out the original bid way back, bidders had to put in their fixed management fee and their estimated O&M, or did they just bid on the management fee?
They bid on both, but particularly the fixed management fee has been the awarding of the contract has been on that. So again, if you look here, the O&M on the combustion turbines are typically less than, for example, the steam plant. Again, because there's less moving equipment, it's a much more simpler equipment. However, the expertise required to provide it is lower than, for example, the fixed management fee for Cabers 1 and 2 is about 1.2 million, and that covers throughout there. But then the O&M is also quite higher than that, because the equipment is much more complex. So here, this is as we use, and again, combustion turbines, they're not used all the time versus the base load. So therefore, their maintenance cost is lower.
Audio control. Please enter your audio ahead, followed by the pound or hash sign. If you do not have a PIN, just press pound or hash.
That's,
Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
is that us?
I think Judy's trying to join. At least that's what my iPad is saying. So John, there was a big pop in year 6. How was the bid structured? It was a 5-year with options for another 5?
That's correct.
Okay. And then the big jump in year 6 of 10%, that was in the original bids that they forecast a large.
This is now,
jump
I
in.
believe, this is negotiated.
This is a new negotiated bid.
You negotiate the second 5 years. The first 5 years were in the bid. This is second 5 years. But remember,
Oh, but it's
yes, 10%. It's 10% of it's a 10% of a lower number. 10% of 700,000 is 70 versus. So it's even though it's a higher percentage, it's not a big amount, in the coverage. Say.
And the 10% applies to the 1.378 million? Or just to the management fee? Because it looks like maintenance is fairly
Melinda,
fixed. Fairly,
Oh, it applies to both?
Both. I think it applied for both, but again, the O&M is reimbursable. That's our budgetary O&M.
right. We may or may not spend it depending on, but this is sort of based on our experience with those units, yeah.
So the 10% that's really paid out for sure is on the 774.
On the fixed
On
management.
the fixed, so 700,000, 10% is 70, and then beyond that is 3%. So there's not a.
Because it looks like you have a little escalator in both the fixed management and the O&M in each subsequent year, right? The 3% is on both the fixed management and the O&M.
That's
You see
correct.
O&M keeping up as well as a budget.
That's correct.
And if it's lower, that's good. But the fixed management fee, that's negotiated now. So when we say 10%, 3%, it's of both the fixed management and the O&M. And some of that 3% is the budgeted O&M projection for the next 5 years. That is going to creep up about 3%.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay.
And so
Thanks,
again,
Mr. Chairman.
again, Mr. Chair, that's the total amount actually, and our request is for your approval. And the last 2 years actually was, we will, if the PUC authorizes, if the CCU authorizes us and the PUC concurs with the contract, at that point we will be awarding the 3 years, and the last 2 years will be made at some later point in the year. But again, the reason for that is that we don't have to keep coming back for the same issue for the last 2 years. So.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Tiaco.
Yeah, I just shared the same concerns as Commissioner Sanchez regarding the negotiated 10%. So, when you were negotiating the 10% increase in the fixed management costs, did they justify what increase in management they're providing for the same exact operation?
Do you remember what numbers they were working with, Melinda?
So the original tender came in at 39% above the current contract year?
Proposal by them, give me 39%. And I wanted 3. And we came up to 10. We ended up with 10.
Commissioner Santos. Oh, are you done?
I'm good. Yes.
Commissioner Santos.
It's very difficult because if you look, a lot of the contracts, it's really more the expertise and getting the materials and supplies that necessary, the parts and equipment to keep the machines running. See. And combustion turbine, yeah, that's part of their contract. And this is the machines are critical. If, for example, we needed one of those things, no, we will have to go out and have a bid to the process and could know what could happen there, including protest, no. So therefore, the machine will not be available. They have to go out and source that within the different areas and provide us with 3 quotes to show us that the pricing is reasonable, or and track down where these materials are, and we approve it, and then they go get it, and then we reimburse them for it. So it's really and most especially during this period of time where we don't have much capacity. We have to put the little 1 and 2 back because of the loss of Gabbers 3 and 4. So these are critical machines now, and so that's the biggest difficulty. If we can't get the materials and supplies necessary for the equipment. It's much too expensive to stock all the parts that may be necessary, and we end up with something that we really need that we don't have. And so that's why the PMC has given us a substantial value in providing, one, the technical expertise to source it and help us determine what is the issue, and then secondly, bringing it in, getting it done. So they have to maintain the reliability of the machines.
The new power plant comes on board, when do you phase them out?
I think they're going to be here for a long time. They're going to be your backup. When the new power plant goes down for overhauls, you have a reserve requirement. The reserve requirement, it will still be around 200 megawatts. Of which, so what the cheapest reserve requirements to keep will be now, the cheapest and best reserve requirement to keep to be able to operate with the new power plant and the renewables are the Agreco units. We're looking at the KEPCO diesel units plus the combustion turbines that we have. So that will be a long-term scenario. As time goes by, we'll be able to look at, and I'm talking about maybe beyond 5 years from now, be able to look at which additional units could you retire. We may be able to retire Tenjo, the 40 megawatts of diesels, or 1 combustion turbine. See? But right now, for the next several years, even beyond the next 5, the units are still critical to the system.
And the expected life is?
Typically, you could bring them up to about, say, 40 years. The problem becomes the parts and so that's why in the 4th year, we'll have to look at in the extension year, we'll have to look at whether do we invest in the new control systems, control the combustion turbines, and are they going to be kept beyond that, or do we retire them at that point versus others? But at least for the next 5 years, it is still critical to us. But you have those options later on too, because again, when the CT plan is down for overhaul, you're going to need the reserve requirement. Yeah, even with renewables, you need a certain number in case that.
Any other questions? Judy, do you have any questions? Commissioner, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Commissioner Guthrie. It's online also. Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll go to the General Manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For General Manager's report, we have a busy screen. The only thing and I'm not sure that this is showing up on the screen, my red, but you can see is that really the merging of the blue and the orange, meaning the impact of COVID-19 is becoming less and less and less. We're still behind in terms of, I'm getting a feedback, right?
We need Simon to mute.
What?
We need Simon to mute.
Yeah, could you text Simon to mute his phone, his microphone?
So can you mute? Yeah.
No, can you mute your microphone?
Mute.
Can you mute your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not talking.
But we're on page 15 of John's presentation,
Oh, yeah.
right? Slide 15 in the upper right corner?
We're on slide 16, on page 16.
Yeah.
15.
Well, okay.
Oh, yeah, 15 on the
I'm looking at.
Yes, 15 on the upper right. Yeah, you're correct.
Peak demand recovering towards 2019 level. That was
Right.
the slide I was watching John
Right.
summarize.
So
Okay.
where is
That's what we're on,
that?
right? Okay.
Okay, in terms of operating capacity, we do have, as you can see, we have 367 for this period. We expected peak is 243. It was 244 last week. And again, the main thing here is that Cabras number 2 is down for 2 to 3 weeks for its regular quarterly maintenance. What we've done now with Cabras 1 and 2 is that instead of an annual boiler overhaul, we take it down every 3 to 4 months to do maintenance, because again, the age of the equipment is already 40 years, and so it's becoming more and more difficult for them to just go through a very extended period of time operating without major maintenance being occurred. So again, Cabras number 2 now is under overhaul. In terms of this graph, this is the peak demand for again, it began with the COVID period. As you can see, here's the COVID here. Here's 2019, which is what I'm using as a base here. As you can see, they're merging right around here. This peak demand translates to the next page. Net energy, all of the power plants is being served to the community. Then you take minus losses here, then this really is kind of parallel with sales. And so therefore, again, you're seeing the merging of the sales now versus before the pandemic and today. Next. Here's a curve. I'd say I tried to get some of the business out, and this is net kilowatts. You can see the merging occur here, but what's happened here again? With the shutdown, see the divergence again. But again, after a while, the shutdown is completed, this will start to merge again. But again, we're basically around there in terms of what capacity we could produce. We are going to lose customers, but it's not as significant as, again, what we started with. Next. Net metering, here's again the program for the month of August. There was 9 installed. And again, we have about 2,119 customers providing 24.4 megawatts. Next. Fuel oil, again, this is just to show you that since in the past, over the rise over the 5-month period is about $20 per barrel. So now we're from 30 to about 50. No? But again, recently it went down again. So it's going to be
up and down.
Up and down around this range is what is expected. No? But again, good news is that diesel is really down quite a bit here. And most, the combustion turbines are running on diesels. Next. Power alert, we rolled it out this week. And again, this is a two-way texting text messaging service. Again, to try and keep our customers informed on outages. They can type in status to find out whether there's outages affecting their area. they can type in out to report an outage instead of trying to call in GPA and, get in that long queue of line. And of course, one can also opt out of the program by choice. They can ask for help. So again, this is a two-way that rolled out this week, and I'm sure we'll be looking at improving it as we go along. Anything occurring. I think one of the things we incurred recently was the quick shock to the system of rolling out the program, because we have 52,000 customers. No? So, next. The dockets that are being looked at next week's PUC meeting is again, there was a condominium rate being set. I don't think they're ready to set the rate yet, but probably an update on it, because they still have to conduct public hearings on that. Petition to approve the retirement of 8 and 9 and procurement of another 60 megawatt of renewable. They already approved this is ratifying the RFO extension for Mobile. The chairman did approve that, and we made the order. And again, the fiscal year 2021 budgets and construction budget for 21-23. Phase 3 renewables, again, we're waiting. It's now in the hands of the OPA for a decision. Hopefully it comes end of this month. Energy storage, work actually continues there. The difficulty is that we need some people here for the final phases of turning on the battery and going through the checklist of everything like that. So work continues, looking like it may be now mid-November or earlier mid-November, but work continues on the ESS. So we're getting closer. But again, the lockdown also, the quarantine process has impact us again on that. New power plant, again, work continues on the air permit and environmental impact assessment required before construction can begin. We can anticipate delays due to COVID-19 and other challenging permit issues. I think in the future we'll be discussing this more and more. But for now, this is DSM application, just giving you an update. This is a number of applications that came in through from June to September. As you can see, there's been sorry. Yeah.
Does it look at August? I was just saying, look at August.
Yeah.
It jumped. It almost doubled.
Right.
People had money, I guess, or something, because we go from 500, 400, 1,000.
Yep.
And then nothing in September.
Yeah, as of September 3rd, that's 125.
Oh,
So again,
Yeah, but I mean, relatively speaking, I don't know what happened in August.
Yeah.
There's only 3
That's
days
what
in
struck me
September.
when I
Yeah.
was reviewing it was, you're used to seeing more like the June, July, and
yeah.
September.
So a lot are changing out air conditioning and doing
But,
this. So
Yeah, plus they must have got money
But it's funded though.
somehow. PUAs and F-bucks and all those things.
Yeah, yeah.
no, yeah, you're correct. But the CCU approved remember the funding, and they approved it onto the LEAC. So now, yeah. So now we have basically it's about $3 million a year,
Yeah.
and that was our initial budget. So again, a lot of people are coming in, and we're catching up with the payment. There's a lot of payment that all of this are going to go up in September. Because of the COVID, there was a lags, but now we have a huge push to get everybody paid, and a lot of that money is going out already. Next. Again, these are your typical graphs on sales and everything. I think the ones I've shown you earlier gives you more micro look. And that's again the peak demand next. Sales. Again, settling in here, at least at the end. Next. Heat rate, this is the efficiency of the power plants, and as you can see, it's just around the same area. Next.
Sorry, John, my slides aren't moving. Oh, are you,
I'm
or maybe there was a lag.
yeah, there.
You just did heat rate,
This
right?
is the efficiency of about 4%. I'm sorry, this is the net generation station service is around 4%. So again, the net generation gross minus the 4% is your net generation coming out from the plant. Next. Here's the fuel, cargo and consumption up to August 2020. I showed you the one earlier that gives you the up to September, and again the $20 barrel jump. So it was a huge drop, and we're only here yet. So again, we're not up to the $60, $70 a barrel RFO before this pandemic. So next. Chairman wanted us to start a COVID-19, regular update. And again, we're doing this. This is our first attempt in really putting something together that we'd like to update ourselves every board meeting. So here goes, and again, this is to apprise yourselves and the ratepayers. How are we doing through this whole pandemic, and to what is there anything to be concerned about? We're doing a lot of color coding. And again, we're looking at operation, reliability, safety, and financial stability. Looking at the services we offer for our customer. And we continue to comply, of course, with the guidelines. This is to ensure the health and safety of our employee, customer, and the public. Next. So here's our dashboard. We put in operation here in generation, health and safety, repair, consumption and service, supply chain, all green, and then the trend on the right. Yellow is really cautious. We're always watching it. Green has been improving. And again, like here, revenue, we're cautiously watching that. Because if it starts trending the other way, then of course we're going to have to do something. Supply chain, this is something that we're still good in terms of what we have today. But we have to keep an eye out because again, fuel can be disrupted for transportation. And what we're finding out is delivery times of transformers, pat mount transformers, things that you normally has a definite what you call lead time requirement. The lead time, of course, are increasing because of COVID-19. So we're making that adjustment. We are increasing our inventory and then resetting our lead time in our formulas. Again, in terms of the project, because of the Ukudu energy storage is again, yellow, but it's improving. We're getting there. Next. Phase 2, again, all the others, they're still moving along. The Phase 2 contract, we're saying green for at least we know that the OPA is going to make a decision on the Phase 3. The mobile workforce management, this is where people in the field will just type in their work orders, whatever they do out there, and go right into our computers. That's proceeding. Grant projects that we receive for DOE and others, that's still proceeding. And of course the DSM rebate program, now that the funding is there, is continuing forward and a good pace. Next. So here's the operation. We look at all the generators. Here you see yellow for Cabras 1 and 2 because I mentioned earlier Cabras number 2 is under overhaul. PD 8, 7, we have some issues with the exhaust and duct that were being repaired, so that's why it's down from 40 to 28. Everything else is working and ready. In PSCC, again, we're doing the texting and all of that. We're just cautiously watching that, but everything is really still going well. Material management, I mentioned earlier, we're watching the supply chain. And everything else, customer payment options, all of these things are moving along. Next. Let's talk about sales now. This is the overall kilowatt hour sales. As you can see here, the red is or the orange is our 2020, the blue is 2019, our baseline. And here is the shortfall of kilowatt hours. As you can see, the worst time was April, 11 million kilowatt hours. In August, is down to 4.4 million. So again, this is merging very quickly. Just as we kind of projected this to be somewhere around the 1% by September. Next. Where is it all these differences coming from? As you can see, the residential, the red is the 2020. A lot more consumption in the residential community because everybody's home. Commercial, as you can see, it's down compared to 2019, and again, it's been down. Try to pick up. It's been probably going to head down for sure with more and more closures. And here's the percentage. So again, you're looking at seven here. The difference here is 7 million kilowatt hours. So 7 million. That's the equivalent of maybe $1 million. $1 million in revenue right here in the month, no? For that particular one. But here you can see that this is an increase of 6 million. So the residential is really offsetting the commercial loss, no? Mm-hmm. Next. The government has basically also come down a little bit, but it's been maintaining right around there throughout. The Navy has been very close to their projections. There's been I think we've been 1 or 2%, very, very close. So again, it seems obvious, no, it's really the commercial, the businesses that are looking, and that those sales are being offset by people staying at home and utilizing the aircon more throughout the day, all different things. Next.
John, it looked to me like commercial, government, and Navy are down. Yeah, residential is making some of it back up, but I noticed the lower sales to the government, which makes sense. Buildings are closed, and even the Navy, I'm sure, doing some level of shutdown. Because when you add them all up, it's about, well, it's what you showed on that earlier graph.
You see how it came up here? Then there's very close. This is the Navy. So again, this is 1 million kilowatt hours, which is the equivalent of about 600,000 because they're a transmission customer. So this is about 600,000 loads, and then here government is about 2.2. Right. So
not unexpected.
Yep. In terms of receivables, aging, and all of that, as you can see here, this is 90 days and above. We have about 90 days and above. We have about 1.1 million, behind, which is really not too bad for. I think our billing now, John, is around what, John? 20 million, 22 million per. 28 million. So we're not, we're doing, we tag our customers, they continue to pay. Those that are having difficulty, we're working with them on a payment arrangement. So some of this backlog here now will be coming back in and through the payment arrangements that goes forward. Here down the bottom is our prepaid customers. These are and again, 33% in good standing. They are 9% in good standing and recently resolved their debt already. And there's 58% that are in debt recovery. And again, these are the ones that put in money as they go along throughout the month for the service, like a prepaid phone. No? Next. Here, receivables. Again, commercial is what we're watching. That's where we can anticipate things will start to happening. So that's why we have a red here. Government actually is up to date as of this August, but we put yellow because we're always cautious about whether they could be up one month and down the other. So even though it's green, we make it yellow. No. Next.
John, real quick, in August, who settled their payments? The 91 to 120 days dropped substantially from July to August.
Most likely that's DOE and the DPW.
Street.
I think they were like 2 or 3 months, I would say, finally paid.
And then
But
the decrease in the over 120 days, were those write-offs, John, or was that actual recovery?
Payments.
John, when do you write out these things?
After 3 years.
Oh,
So
So
I
these
I
are-
believe the question is, so why do we see a steep drop in the over 120 days?
Yeah. From June, or from May to August, it went from just under $1 million down to 1,000. Was that from payments, or was that from account write-offs?
most
Very
likely
bottom
this
line.
is, we can check, but most likely this is from payments.
Yeah, for air government, it's mostly payments.
Okay.
Good.
Because this
If
was
it's from payments,
the,
that's good.
DOE was substantially behind,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they put up some payments, so I won't be surprised. Yep, we'll confirm that when we get back to
Let us know on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Just make sure.
Here's payment methods. Before in 2019, greater than 50%, about 54% of our customers preferred in-lobby payments. Now, we see that nearly 50% are mostly in, web and media. Of course, all of it, barring on necessity and all of that. But that's a 9% turnaround. So hopefully, we'll continue to work and try and get this number higher and higher, and trying to find out how do we work with our customers to make this maybe a long-term thing where the less they have to come into our lobbies, hopefully it's better for them. So next. Again, our impact strategy again is really on the short mid-term. There's a high degree of flexibility and a lot of things we're doing. Continue resiliency, prepare for surges and all of this. In the long term, we're really trying to make sure, what are the impact on demand, security, costs, technology, and strategic. We're trying to prepare for the long term for this type of technology, like this type of pandemic or other similar type of emergencies. So, this is very unusual, but at least after we come out of this, I think we'll be much stronger in future types. So, next. What have we done? The external factors, of course, impact us. There's, here are our critical factors for GPA: operational, health, safety, ratepayer service. The pandemic factors, illness. So we're constantly evaluating this, making changes as necessary. You've seen all of that downstairs when you come in, how we operate the building for our GPWA family. And again, we're just responding to challenges. The business community, we're looking at continuity. We're looking at isolating critical functions, more e-processes and other projects. Health and safety, that's the typical guidelines. Affordability, reduce and stabilize LEAC, conservation, demand side management programs, trying to help our. And then in engagement, payment plans, contactless options, and then drive-through services. Excuse me. So next, that's our COVID-19 report. We'll continue to update this, and if you have any recommended changes or more information you might need, we will provide. In terms of the workforce, we have been tracking and making sure there's contact tracing as necessary. I think today there is one person that has been, in this positive, been positive now for about a week, and so all the others have been testing negative. So they have to stay home and quarantine until they.
Our positive cases, though, in GPA weren't contracted here. They are contracted somewhere else, or they were
Yes,
contracted
most of this is, in fact, all of it, I think, is contracted somewhere
outside.
else. Not from within the utility.
Good.
So again, first and foremost, we've changed our operational strategies to make sure that we keep teams together. Most critical are the power plants.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's worked well so far, and we're able, to sustain the service. Everything else we can make an adjustment, but power plant operators are very critical for us.
Okay.
And so I'm open to any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Well, you might get some more questions on Tuesday, John.
Yep, no
So
problem.
everybody goes to the report. And now we have, what do we have, finance?
No.
No. Admin.
Finance did September 3rd, Mr. Chairman. I think you got the August report, right?
Yes, we gave the July information on the last board meeting. So the August will be to
You'll be
September.
loading that for the Tuesday night
Yes,
meeting?
working for the Tuesday board meeting, yes.
Okay.
I don't have the, I just got the report today, so I haven't had a chance.
How we're doing?
Yes. Yeah, we will have the August information we could project to September, yeah.
Yeah, I think in July, we're still looking good in meeting the debt service coverages, so we'll update it for Tuesday.
Is there anything else? That's it? Is there a motion to adjourn? Or second? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner
Thank
Sanchez?
you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, John.
Thank you.